Is there anyone watching this video from their office? I'm genuinely interested. If so, comment and let me know. The reason I'm asking is because commercial real estate, while on a slight uptick here in 2025, as we approach the back end of 2025, is still somewhat dead. Because of that, there are so many empty or semi-empty commercial buildings all around the country. Buildings where office values are quickly and rapidly going down, investors' money is being lost, and many are on the doorstep of going bankrupt. In response to that, we have started to see an office conversion boom. And by boom, I mean taking an old office building and converting it to something else. Apartments, AKA multifamily, a hotel, life sciences building. There's so many great uses, and that is the theme of today's video. As always, it's Brad Reynolds, hashtag Think Nashville, Think Brad, and you know me as the residential guy. But I love learning all about real estate, period. Whether it's industrial, commercial, residential, etc. It's two sides of the same coin. We both have different ways of doing business, different ways of going about it, but I've got to know a little bit about how they interact with what I do every day. So let's jump into it. One of the trends and sayings I've heard so often in my life is that the trend is your friend. So now let's look at some of the trends going on in the office conversion space. The number of planned office to apartment conversions has surged in recent years. Back in 21, it was only 12,100. By the end of 2024, we saw 55,300. By the end of this year, it's around 75,000. And easily in the next year or two, we'll see over 100,000 units that are converted. Let's now break down kind of that whole pie. When you look at it, okay, a lot of old office buildings are being converted, but it's not all multifamily. Yes, around 38% is multifamily, aka apartments, but there's so many other options. You've got industrial, you've got hotel, you've got life sciences, which in doing my research, amazingly, is the second highest segment here. Think about a city like Nashville. You have a ton of medical people, you have HCA, you have TriStar, all these medical companies, Vanderbilt Medical, and all these other medical companies attached in that sphere. So many of them need places to do research. Well, that's where the life sciences buildings come in. And many times it is easier to retrofit those at a much lower cost than it is to go and spend it from the ground up. Now let's get out of Nashville, Tennessee. Let's look around the country, because while we're growing, there are so many bigger cities in the country that are pursuing this. And when you look at those cities with the most units being converted, easily it's first and foremost New York. In New York, in just the last year alone, we saw 6,500 units converted. Next, our nation's capital, Washington, D.C. We saw around 5,500 units converted. And last but not least, Los Angeles with around 4,000 units overall. Let's look at the economic rationale, because if you're gonna do this, it's gotta make economic sense. So when we look at buildings that need to be retrofitted, on the whole, it's about 30% cheaper than to go out and build a new building. Makes sense, right? Now, what about all of the buildings in the country? Well, of the ones that have been identified, only about 25% are structurally sound enough to handle a conversion. It just can't. They can't all be done. Some just need to be torn down and build something else there. Now, when we look at the country on the whole, there's about 1.2 billion square feet of office space in the country, and only 14.8% of that is considered potentially convertible. So here is why this is starting to happen in Nashville. Office vacancies and hybrid work. COVID changed the game. People are not going into the office all the time. Because of that, you have all these buildings that are being underused and could potentially benefit from being retrofitted. Also, there are many desired urban locations. You don't have to be in downtown proper anymore. East Nashville, the Gulch, Germantown, all has a ton of old buildings that can and will eventually benefit from this. But lastly, for this section, the rules and regulations. There are so many other big cities, New York, Los Angeles, Boston, etc., where they're starting to do this, but their need is so much more than ours. Why? They have a lot more buildings. Here in Nashville, there's still not clarity on the rules, the regulations, and where the potential money could come from a public-private partnership to convert some of these buildings. All that is good and well, but Brad, are there any local examples of this going on? The answer is yes. I've got 4 ready to go. First, Parkway Towers. Parkway Towers was sold at the beginning of this year to Realm Capital for $15 million. Previously, it was sold to Wheel Lot Capital Partners for $33 million back in 2020. a big loss. Now, the building is 248,000 square feet of office space. They're gonna change that to apartments or a hotel. We'll see what it is. Next, the old Fifth Third Tower in downtown Nashville. Honestly, this and seeing the news on it recently was what kind of stoked making this video today. This is a big building. This is one of Nashville's core buildings, and it's kind of sad that it's going from a big office tower to a potential hotel conversion, but it is what it is. It's the time we're living in. Also, 211 Commerce Street. This is a building 1 block off from Broadway. Dolly Parton and her team have bought it. They've retrofitted it. It's gonna open in spring 2026. 245 rooms in total, and just 2 of the floors will remain commercial. Honestly, I don't know how that's possible, because how could you be walking through the lobby and checking as a guest, but also be a business person going to your office? I don't know, but it's happening spring 2026. And last but not least, the Morris Memorial Building located at 330 Charlotte. Now, this is at the back of downtown. This is a building that was made by African Americans back in the early 1900s, was built for the sole purpose of having their National Baptist Convention Center there in town. It's been bought. It's most likely going to turn into a boutique hotel with a speakeasy on the rooftop. Focus in here, friends, because this is where I give my opinion. Maybe I should have led with it at the beginning. Maybe I should have, but I didn't. The wheels all got started turning on making this video, like I said earlier, when I saw the Fifth Third building was being bought. Honestly, it makes me kind of sad that we're turning in from a world where people used to be downtown all the time working, suits everywhere, kind of giving us that 90s, 80s, 90s vibe of the business world. But that world no longer exists. These days, you're way more likely downtown to see pedal taverns, people out having fun, woo girls, kind of all the people that were on Broadway. The downtown is way more structured now for high-rise hotels, high-rise residential apartments, and condos. The reality is companies are no longer limited to being in just downtown proper. The world we used to call downtown has changed. Now many companies are actively, honestly, avoiding downtown due to Broadway. People love, especially the business community, loves that people come to Nashville for Broadway, but they're actively avoiding it. You can be in East Nashville, you can be in Germantown, you can be in the Gulch, you can be in Midtown, you can soon be in the new East Bank component and all the stuff that will be built there. But most do not want to be close to Broadway. I mean, think about it. If you were leasing space, would you rather be in the old 1896 built, the year I was born, Fifth Third building with old buildings, inadequate spaces, non-updated spaces, or would you rather be at the new Nashville Yards development? It's an easy answer. Also, with this big building, all the square footage coming off the board, while old and outdated, it's going to help new buildings get spurred on as the available current new space in buildings like 1221 or Nashville Yards or etc. get leased. I mean, when you think about people's aversion to Broadway, think about the old Pinnacle Tower there in Sobro. That building slowly cleared out over the years. Why? Because people were so tired of having to pull in and out and not hit tourists. People eventually said, forget it, we're out, we're going elsewhere. Friends, leave me a comment here. I'm genuinely interested in your feedback. The world that we've seen the last few years, the world of hybrid work, is slowly going back to where people are in the office more. But I don't think we'll ever go back to a world where we're in the office 5 days a week. It's probably always going to be some form of hybrid work, 3 to 4 days in, 1 to 2 days out. And because of that, like we've said, companies are looking outside the downtown perimeter for where to locate. As always, this is Brad Reynolds, Think Nashville, Think Brad. We would love to hear from you. We would love to be your agent, so hit that follow button, hit that like button, reach out to us for all of your needs. Hope to hear from you soon. Cheers.